has added jobs for 12 months in a row. She says the economy has added 1.5 million private sector jobs. But, she added, we need to continue to not lose sight of where we need to go to increase opportunities for people to get employed in new jobs. President Obama has filled a top job in his party as he prepares to seek a second term. He chose Representative Debbie Wasserman Schultz of Florida to head the Democratic National Committee. She replaces Tim Kaine, who plans to run for the Senate from Virginia next year. Among Republicans, former Minnesota Governor Tim Pawlenty recently formed a committee to explore a presidential campaign. Several other Republicans are also considering races for their party's nomination. The latest jobs report showed that 13.5 million Americans remained unemployed in March. Another concern is that oil prices remained over $100 a barrel. High energy prices could threaten the recovery from the recession. In another development, Portugal became the latest member of the European Union with heavy debts to request emergency loans. Portugal joined Greece and Ireland, which have also received aid. Portuguese opposition parties refused to accept budget cuts proposed by Prime Minister José Socrates. For VOA Special English, I'm Carolyn Presutti. For more ways to learn American English and stay informed every day, go to voaspecialenglish.com from your computer or mobile device.
This is the VOA Special English Economics Report. The International Monetary Fund has raised its prediction for world economic growth to 4.6% this year. That is a 0.5 percentage point higher than the estimate in April. The IMF credited expansion in Asia and growing demand in the United States. But the lender's chief economist also warned that downside risks have risen sharply. President Obama talked about the importance of building exports as a way to create jobs and economic growth at home. He said, American exports grew almost 17% over the first 4 months of this year, compared to the same period last year. Part of this, of course, is due to the global recovery. But we are also moving forward on improving conditions for America's exporters. Mr. Obama relaunched the President's Export Council. The group includes business and labor leaders who will advise on trade issues. The government reported that private employers added only 83,000 jobs in June. Unemployment remains high, even after 6 months of job growth. As the president pointed out, there are still 5 unemployed workers for each job opening. Export-related jobs, he said, pay 15% more than average. In 2008, American exports supported almost 7% of all jobs, including 1/3 of jobs in manufacturing. In January, in his State of the Union speech, President Obama promised to double exports in 5 years. In his comments in July, he said the United States must work to remove trade barriers and open new markets. Mr. Obama said the United States offers some of the world's lowest barriers to trade and expects free and fair access to other countries in return. In late June, the World Trade Organization ruled that Airbus received billions in illegal European aid. The ruling was a victory for its American competitor, Boeing. American lawmakers have also long complained that China suppresses the value of the yuan to lower the price of its exports. China recently promised to let the yuan trade more freely against the dollar. China passed Germany to become the world's top exporting country last year. The United States was third. Some American companies have been doing well in developing markets. For the first time, General Motors announced higher sales in China, the world's largest car market, than in the United States. And that's the VOA Special English Economics Report. This is the VOA Special English Economics Report. President Obama has been seeking support for his $447 billion jobs plan. The American Jobs Act calls for cutting wage taxes on most businesses. It seeks to prevent public employees like teachers, police, and firefighters from losing their jobs to budget-cutting measures. And it calls for more federal spending on roads and transportation infrastructure to help create jobs. In October, the Senate blocked a vote on the full bill. President Obama said he would seek votes on different parts of his jobs plan. Mr. Obama and his wife, Michelle, traveled to North Carolina and Virginia as part of efforts to seek support for his jobs plan. The Republican majority leader in the House of Representatives said some parts of the bill are like those in a plan put forward by the Republicans. Eric Cantor urged President Obama to find common ground with House Republicans. We want the president to work with us. We want him to stop campaigning. Let's go find the things that are in common between this plan and his. Republicans in Congress offered their own plans to improve job growth earlier in the year. They have called for cutting tax rates and limiting government rules on businesses. Also, in October, Congress passed free trade deals with South Korea, Colombia, and Panama, and the president signed them into law. Both Mr. Obama and congressional Republicans agree the deals should create jobs at home and open markets to American exports. United States trade officials say every additional $1 billion in new exports supports 6,000 additional jobs. Last year, exports to South Korea alone stood at about $39 billion. But the president says a lack of jobs continues to hurt economic growth. The unemployment rate held at 9.1% in September. The economy added over 100,000 jobs during the month. But economists say that is not enough to markedly bring down the jobless rate. For VOA Special English, I'm Alex Villarreal. Our programs are a way for people to read, listen to, and learn American English, and much more. You can download transcripts and MP3s of our stories at voaspecialenglish.com. You can also join us on Facebook and Twitter at VOA Learning English.